Hello everyone, it's Mike the Star Turtle. Today I'll be reviewing Game of Thrones Season 5, Episode 7, The Gift. Now, right off the bat, I want to start off by addressing the controversy from the final scene of last episode. Because the whole internet's been in uproar about it, so I might as well address it real quickly. My opinion is, it was meant to be a horrible, fucked up scene. You felt sick while watching it. I felt a little sick while watching it. You were supposed to. It was meant to be that way. And like what the fuck people expect? It's fucking Ramsay. What do we think we just gonna like make tender sweet love to her? No. And yeah, like the whole scene was played like very well. Like the acting for all three actors was pretty good, especially Theon, just him crying, not looking and just crying while it was happening, and they didn't even show that much. They didn't even show any nudity. They showed her ripping her clothes slightly, then throwing her on the bed. Then obviously he's taking her, and Theon's watching it. It was a very, I don't want to say beautifully done scene because it was a horrible fucked up scene, but it was a very well done scene, a very powerful scene. And you know what? Worse things have happened to people, and not only worse things have happened to people, they've actually shown in worse gruesome detail horrible things have happened to people, like Theon's torture in season 3 and Oberyn's death last season, as I've gone on about already. I gotta stop talking about that because it's in the past now. But you know what I'm saying. And as far as using rape as a plot device, murder is at least legally worse than rape. And how many times has that been used as a plot device in the history of fiction? Like, you can't even count the number of times. I mean, how many times have you used just in this show alone? So if they want to use rape every now and then as a plot device, I'm not saying it's again, it's not meant to be a feel good thing. It's meant to be a trouble thing, and yeah. Plus, we don't know for sure what they're gonna do with Sansa's character. I mean, she's still alive, so as long as she's still alive, we know what the places they'll take her character to. So we don't know what's going on yet. And if anything, I think this is just another reminder, because remember she was able to avoid getting raped or maimed or anything like that, like a surprising amount of times. You can only avoid that kind of stuff from so long, especially if you keep getting put in situations like this. So, I felt bad for it. It's really shitty, but I kind of knew that was going to happen at some point. And again, like I said, it was very well. The way they did it was very well done. It was not gratuitous at all. It was a very powerful, very well done scene. So that's my opinion on it. If you disagree, that's fine. But all right, we're gonna move on now, and might as well use that segue into the Winterfell episode, to this episode, Winterfell stuff. Killing takes place I'd say at least several days, probably a week or so, maybe more after that night, and Ramsay's obviously been torturing her and raping her every night since then, and yeah, it's fucked up. But I like how they don't ever go into detail. They still allude to it, which is how it should be done. And Theon comes in, and she straight up like begs him to try and help her. Let's try and put a candle in that window on the far tower, whatever it's called, whatever the name of that tower is called. Because she just at this point she's like, I'm done with playing this game. I just want to get the fuck out of here, and you can't blame her. And she really tries to appeal him, trying to make him like, you're the Lord of the Iron Islands. Come on, like, just man up and do something. And it looks like for once he's actually gonna do something, and you're really excited for a second, and then he goes to Ramsay. Although one thing I have to admit, I'm not entirely sure if he was actually going to that actual tower, and then Ramsay may have actually set up his office in that same tower, and that's why he ended up talking to Ramsay, or if he actually just went right to Ramsay. I'm honestly not sure. It could be either way. Maybe I wasn't really paying attention. Maybe you could tell for sure if you watch it again. I only watched it once, so maybe if I watch it again, I'll know the answer. But I kind of wondered about that. Like, if he really was trying to help her, but then he realized that the place that they're supposed to set up that candle is where Ramsay is actually as his office set up. Although I could be wrong. I could have missaw it. I don't know. Anyway. He tells Ramsay, and the old woman, who was pretty much Sansa's only ally within the walls, ended up getting flayed and tortured to death, and Sansa's pretty upset about that. And she's probably really enraged with Theon right now, and I don't blame her. I still hope that Theon will just go redeem himself somehow, but I don't know if that probably won't happen anytime soon now, if it does happen at all. Though I would not be surprised if at some point, either this season or next, he does eventually decide to help rescue her, And then when they get out, she says, you know what? Gods may forgive you for what you've done. Thank you for doing this, but I won't forgive you. And just slits his throat. Yeah, it would probably be a fitting end, but at the same time, at least he would go doing something noble. But we'll see. Maybe it'll happen, maybe not. I did really like that little brief conversation between Ramsay and Sansa about bastards. She had no idea that Jon had become Lord Commander of the Night's Watch, and like him just using that, as well as Tommen, not Mama's boy like Tommen becoming this Hall of Westeros. So of course, you shouldn't underestimate Ramsay. He's definitely a fucking force to be reckoned with. So, other northern stuff, the Wall. Jon goes on his mission. Alistair's not too happy about that, but he's not in command anymore. And it was really sad to see Master Aemon go, like right after Jon left. Jon didn't even get to Aemon's funeral. And so Sam spoke on Aemon's behalf, or eulogized him. It was pretty well done scene. But then Alistair whispers in his ear like, You're running out of friends, Tarly, whatever his name is. I keep writing Sam's last name, Tarly, whatever. I think it's Tarly. And whether or not Alistair said that out of because he actually respected the kid, or because he actually just doesn't give a shit, or maybe a little of both. I don't know. I mean, it's clear. I think at the very least he has to have respect for Sam and Jon at this point, even if he still doesn't like them, because he didn't seem very like ominous the way he said it. It seemed like it was actually a legitimate warning. Then again, it was Aemon's funeral, and everyone respected Aemon, so who knows. But yeah, and then Gilly nearly gets raped by a couple of the Night Watchmen, and Sam does his best to try to defend him, but he doesn't even get a shot in. They pretty much nearly beat crap out of him. And if it wasn't for Ghost, who was coming in to save the last minute, he probably would have been maybe not killed, but at least maimed, and she would have been raped. And then she and him have sex, and it's a surprisingly touching scene, and she's the one trying to make sure she doesn't hurt him, which was ironic. And yeah, and he's like, oh God, like that was pretty amusing. That was funny. So one thing I will say is, after all this time, you think he would have at least learned a little bit how to fight. I know he's probably not the most physically competent person, and never probably will be a very good fighter, but you think he would have gone to Jon and say, come on, seriously, we really need to learn at least a little bit better. Get a little bit better at fighting than I am, because he doesn't even get one shot in. He could have at least got a couple of shots in before they pinned him to the ground. Because without snow, he would have been fucked right there. So anyway, finally in the north, we see Stannis and Davos talking. His army is in pretty bad shape. Some of his soldiers and sellswords are deserting. And but Stannis has a point for saying there really is, winter's pretty much already here, at least in this part of the world. It's going to get worse from here. There's not going to be a better time. We have to do this now. So I kind of understood what he's coming from in that regard. So, but then Melisandre goes and say, in order to help win, we're gonna need you to sacrifice your daughter. And he's like, no, we're not going to do that. Although he didn't seem like he was tempted. Like when his wife suggested that same idea, like last season, he was like, didn't even want to think about it. But when she said it, Melisandre said it, he seemed like he was tempted. But honestly, I don't think he will do it. And in fact, I think he's gonna end up refusing. And Melisandre's gonna abandon him and try to go back Jon, because it was already hinted that she was thinking about doing that already. So, and then I think he's gonna fight Roos's army, and they're gonna get slaughtered. But at least he'll go out fighting. I feel like that's what's gonna happen. I don't think it's gonna happen this season. It may, but I don't think it's gonna happen until next season. But we'll see. King's Landing. Actually, no. Before King's Landing, one more thing. Tyrion and Jorah. They get trained as gladiators, and I love the way Tyrion got to be bought as a gladiator. That was a really funny, amusing moment. And then Jorah is reunited with Daenerys, and she at first wants nothing to do with him until Tyrion comes in and says, "I'm Tyrion fucking Lannister, as son of Tywin and daughter of the current Dowager Queen of Westeros. You need me." And yeah, I still think she might still end up executing him, or at least or at least imprisoning him because she still considers him a traitor. But I'm talking about Jorah. But at least Tyrion's finally. I didn't think this was gonna happen. At least not this season, and I'm glad it actually did. But as slow as the season has been compared to other previous seasons, I actually really liked. I've been really enjoying this season. So despite the slower pace, I like a lot of fun little surprises that they're throwing at us. This is one of them. That alone made the episode almost pretty much a 9 out of 10 for me. That scene alone. I definitely look forward to seeing them interact with each other more. Anyway, King's Landing. Littlefinger, of course, still being the shifty, all sides playing stuff son of a bitch that he is. Remember, he's the one who had Joffrey killed with Lady Olenna. And honestly, even though he's kind of on Olenna's side right now, he still doesn't give a shit either way. I honestly don't think he has an end goal. I really think he's just playing all sides, like just waiting for the best opportunity to really get what he wants. And right now, between Olenna and the Boltons and the Baratheons, I think he is realizing now that Stannis is starting to outlive her usefulness to him. So he turns on her pretty quickly. But I like his scene with Olenna, and I really like Olenna's scene with the High Sparrow. Like Sparrow's such a true believer, and he cares so much about the people. You want to root for him because I loved his line. You are the few, we are the many, and you point out the fact that all you noble people have never actually worked in the farms or the slums, and you don't know what it's like calling them out on their shit. But he's still a fucking homophobe because that's what the gods say. I want to root for him, and that's why I kind of wish they did what they did in the books, which he wasn't homophobe, he was just really anti nobles because they were all a bunch of horrible shitty people, but I can't entirely condone him because he's a homophobe. Anyway, outside of that, it was really cool. All his scenes with Olenna and with Cersei were pretty cool. Cersei's brief scene with Marjorie was pretty cool. Like she's not even giving Marjorie the dignity of admitting that this was all her doing. But Marjorie knows. And then the Sparrow just comes out and says, "Yeah, you're just as bad as they are, and you're under arrest too." I knew this was gonna happen in the books, but even then, I knew this would probably happen at some point, even if I had known about what happened in the books. Like, there's only a matter of time for a fanatically religious cult, as fanatical and believing as they are, wouldn't have eventually learned about what Cersei's done and turned on her. There's no way it wouldn't have happened at some point. In fact, I was expecting that to happen until at least like next episode or not, but the next episode or final episode. But it happened now. Again, a lot of pleasant surprises this episode. We've only got 3 episodes left. I'm anxious to see what they do. Oh yeah, one more thing. Forgot Dorne. Dorne is still as cool to start out with Bronn and Jaime. It's still the least interesting part of the story. Okay. At least King's Landing was kind of not as interesting as it used to be. But this episode had picked up there. So Dorne, although Dorne was interesting this season, this episode too, more than it was before. We get our best scene with the Sand Snakes so far, and another cool scene with Bronn, and the whole thing with him making him get it up, which got the blood circulating and allowed the poison to work faster, and then giving him the antidote because I guess she just still likes him despite the fact that he was trying to prevent Brenda from getting revenge. And not sure where what's her name is, Ilaria was. Maybe she's been in prison somewhere else, but that was a pretty cool scene. And of course, Jaime being reunited with his daughter after actually he hasn't even seen his daughter since season 1, and she's pretty much been in Dorne for years, and so this is, as far as she's concerned, this is her home now. She's gonna marry to Restrain, so she has no intention of going back willingly, and he's kind of a prisoner, just like Bronn. So Jaime can't really do much at this point. So yeah, that's the last. I forgot about that part. So like I said, another really good episode. Another really good episode. Probably the best of the season. I'm anxious to see what they do for the last 3 episodes. See if they'll top the last 3 episodes of the last season. We still got one big action set piece coming up that I've seen from the trailers. It looks like it will probably be from Daenerys' perspective because we have yet to actually see a really big, epic long running set piece with her characters. That'll be cool. I think it's gonna be cool to finally see that. But I do not think we're gonna get to see a battle between Roose and Stannis though. But we'll see. Definitely the best episode so far. 9.5 out of 10. Or actually, okay, maybe not quite 9.5, but definitely over 9. Maybe like 9.3 out of 10. But still, this is a really good episode. And we'll see what happens next.